Hey everyone, my name is Penny Zanker, and it's time to reset. This podcast goes beyond just navigating change. It's about new ways of thinking about how you can approach challenges, how you can shift your mindset when needed, create some space and grace for yourself so that you can rethink, recharge, and reprioritize when and where needed. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Thank you for hitting play and sharing this next episode with me. It's time to reset. Hey, it is so great to have you all here. Today, we're going to be talking about AI. Everybody's talking about, but really what we want to talk about is how do we turn it from the hype into something that we can actually use as a competitive advantage. And I'm excited to have a good friend and an expert in this space. Jim Feldman is here with us, and he has a lot of great resources and experience. As a matter of fact, we were just at an event together, and I realized how much I thought I knew about AI and how much more there is to know. And so we're definitely going to get some great tools and tips from today. And Jim is the founder of SOAR Academy, a professional speaker and a go-to authority for helping associations, hospitality organizations, and MICE leaders actually implement AI tools, not just talk about them, but actually to implement them. And without further ado, he can tell us more about his background and everything, and you'll see it in the show notes, but let's get chatting. Jim, how's it going?
So the issue with AI today is that people treat it like a vending machine. It's not a vending machine.
What do you mean treat it like a vending machine?
Okay, when you go to a vending machine, it's got X number of things that you put in your money and it comes out. If you decide that you wanted Cheetos and it's not in the vending machine, you can't get it. If you decided you wanted chocolate covered pretzels, you'd have to get the pretzels, you'd have to get the chocolate, you'd have to put the two things together. AI has over 100,000 tools and counting every day.
I know, it's sick.
It's an unbelievable task to try to keep up. So there's three things that I think everybody should know. Number one.
Well, wait, before you go into those three things, because we want to make this a little bit of a dialogue back and forth as well, is I want to mention to the point of keeping up, because I always say you shouldn't keep up. Don't try to keep up because you can't. What would you say just to that point of people who are overwhelmed and frustrated because they feel like all they're doing is trying to keep up and getting nowhere?
So my favorite comparison is that when you and I go to a grocery store, supermarket, a big one, there's about 30,000 items there. But you typically go with a very clear path. I need lettuce, I need milk, I need eggs. And you kind of fill up your shopping cart with what you wanted. And every now and then you find a sale or you find an end cap and you go, oh, that's a good deal. I should buy that. But you come away with pretty much what you went there because you had a very specific objective. Now, you and I go to Costco's and there's only two things for sure at Costco's. That's the hot dog and the chicken. Everything else is a brand new, hey, look at this, look at that. And somehow we walk out with $200 or $300 worth of stuff in our shopping cart. We get home, we start to put it out on the counter and go, I really did not need 36 rolls of paper towel. I really did not need 14 gallons of virgin olive oil. That's the problem with AI. There is a challenge and there's an opportunity. So I started to say earlier, the most important thing to know about AI, trust but verify. It's coming off the internet, people. It's not perfect. The second thing is pretend that you're going to the grocery store, not the Costco's. Why are you going to the grocery store? Because I needed milk, chicken, eggs, etc. You're very, very clear on the outcome. Where people get lost in AI is they don't have a clear outcome. They go, oh, look at this, it'll do that. Oh, look at this, it'll do that. And because you weren't clear, it doesn't work. You get frustrated and you go, well, AI just isn't for me.
I talk about clarity first, right?
Yeah.
Everything that we do, it's not just with technology. In anything we do, you can't have a team and expect that team to function properly if you don't have clarity on the overarching objectives, on who your audience is, right? All of those things. It's no different than when we go to use a technology that's very much like a delegation partner, that if you're not clear on what you want, it's not going to tell you what you want. It's not a consultant where it can read between the lines. Got to have clarity first.
The second thing with AI, as I said earlier, quit treating it like a vending machine and treat it like your assistant. Name it. Give it a personality. Mine is Mr. Spock. I
Mine
have,
is Zenny.
it's Denny.
Zenny. So like Penny, but my last
Ah,
initial is a Z.
good.
So it's
Yes.
Zenny.
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 So now if Zenny was sitting next to you, you would say, Zenny, I have this problem. I need your help in X.
Hmm.
I need you to research Y. Zenny comes back, and do you immediately accept what Zenny tells you? No. This
No.
is an assistant. We're training the assistant. So the better you train your assistant, the better the outcome. I write a newsletter, and I've gotten to the point where Mr. Spock and I have conversations. And in my latest newsletter, I wrote the entire iteration of the conversation, and it's funny.
Mm.
I didn't know AI could be funny.
Actually, I don't think it
It can.
can be funny.
I have a thing that I do every year between Christmas and New Year's because most of my clients are on vacation. I do a hire Jim Feldman to evaluate Jim Feldman for this week. Let's look at the bios. Let's look at what tools you're using. Let's look at the clients that you won. Let's look at the clients that you completed, et cetera, et cetera. So I rewrote the bio. I used AI to help me. I was happy with it. I put it into one of the tools that I use to help me find speaking engagements, and it popped up with an AI bio improver. Okay. Came up with suggestions. So I put the suggestions back in and I said, Mr. Spock, what do you think? And Mr. Spock said, I almost threw up in my mouth reading
No way.
this.
Did it say
Yes,
that?
exactly.
That's hysterical. That's funny. See, because if you try to ask, like if I ask Zenny to help me to make some jokes, they are so bad.
Terrible.
Like so bad.
Right.
So I'm surprised that it was funny with you. I mean, it can be cheeky sometimes. I guess that's it being cheeky.
So were you using ChatGPT for that?
Yes, I was using ChatGPT.
See,
So
wrong
who's,
tool.
oh, so who's got that kind of
Claude.
humor?
Claude.
Claude. Well,
Claude.ai.
I just started using Claude
Yep.
and I just started to configure it the way that I want it. And it has some really cool things in there. Like in the settings, there's these skills. Really like that idea of being able to turn on and off different skills to use. But I'm just a beginner there in that. Maybe let's talk about that. Different tools for different things, unless you were going in a different direction.
No, and I think there's part of the confusion right there. There's so much stuff out there. How do you know what to use, when to use it, etc.? So one of the things that I constantly do with the people that I'm working with is I say, look, tell me where you're going first. Pretend you're a
Mhm.
pilot. The pilot doesn't get in the plane and go, oh, let's see which way we're going today. The pilot says,
Right.
here's my flight plan. This is where we're going. This is how we're going to get there. But the important part of the flight plan is plan B. What if we hit bad weather? What if we have a fuel issue? What if we have a mechanical issue? So they've always got places that they can land. And so along the way, they know where all of these, let's just call them life rafts, exist.
Hmm.
Maybe a bad term, but there's a good term for that because if you don't understand that each tool's learning language has a different bias, then you don't know what tool to use for that bias. So, for instance, Grok. Grok is the one that is most in tune with what's going on in social media. Now, social media isn't the perfect place to find information, but it may be the most timely place for information. Claude, on the other hand, has put up fences around it so that it doesn't get interfered with social media, etc. So you need to spend a little time learning the difference in what each tool does well and what doesn't do well.
Absolutely. And I think that is, I've seen it in the past. So I was an application developer, and in the beginning, we started out with one particular development tool. And it kind of, it seemed like if you came from that development world, that you tried to make everything work in that development world. So so when I first came into GPT, to chat GPT, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get to know this. I'm going to be the ins and outs. And I tried to use it for everything. And sometimes it's just downright frustrating because it's the wrong tool, right? And I think is a huge, what you're saying is really, really important that people understand where they want to go and that they have their set of tools that they use depending on what it is that they want out of it. If they want to get images, if they want to do video, if they want to do research, and so forth.
So, to your point, which is well taken, think of the toolbox. Most of us have got a toolbox somewhere in your house, your apartment, etc. How many times do you need the pipe wrench?
Right.
Only once or twice, but boy, you're glad you have
But you need, yeah,
it.
that's a great analogy. That's a great analogy. And which tool would that be for you? What's your pipe wrench?
So I don't have a pipe wrench. I have a set of tools. And I know, for instance, if I'm trying to do research, I like Perplexity the most. Perplexity was designed for research and it
Mhm.
has no bias. But the important part with Perplexity is that it gives you all of its resources. So if it gives you, let's call it a consolidation or a dummy overview, it says, this is where I got it. So you can click on it and say, well, show me the Forbes article, show me the Inc. article. And then
Right.
you can make your own informed decision as opposed to, let's call it chat or Gemini that just throws it out there and doesn't tell you where it comes from unless you specifically ask. So there's a big difference in how it works. I think that most people, and I'm going to go back to my vending machine, it's not a push a button. And a lot of people think the push a button is the prompt. If you've not written the prompt carefully, and sometimes prompts are not one sentence, but many
Right.
pages to
Pages,
get it
yeah.
done right. It's the old garbage in, garbage out. I did a project recently where my prompt turned out to be 11 pages long. And I thought, this is ridiculous. But I kept coming up with making it better, making it better, making it better. And the output was 98% exactly what I wanted. And it was all verifiable because I took the time to say, here it is. You've got to treat AI like a smart, collaborative colleague. And that's the difference between using AI and talking with AI. Remember, these are all called language learning models. And the more you talk to it, the more it tells you things that are valid or at least point you in the right direction.
So we said we wanted to talk about how to make AI the competitive advantage and I guess revenue generation. We don't have a lot of time today. So where do you want to take us with that?
So, again, let's establish the outcome first. So, you want to build context over time. You want to upload all the examples of who you are that it will accept. If it'll take videos, it'll take PDFs, it'll take books, let it learn who you are. It gets pretty smart. And then when it has an output, challenge it. This is 80% right, or this was wrong, or this was really great. Because I always end my conversations with thank you very much, however, or but, or if you could. And it learns because one of the great things about AI is it works 24/7. It takes criticism well. It doesn't go on vacation, doesn't need a coffee break, but it's never run a business. It's never made a decision.
Right.
It just is a curator of stuff that it brings back to you and says, okay, here it is. It's sort of like learning to bake. Baking is a whole lot different than cooking. I'm a chocolate maker. Chocolate making is different than everything else because chocolate making is chemistry and it's unforgiving. If you get water in it, if you overheat it, if you do all kinds of things, it just seizes up and it's ruined. It's over. As opposed to cooking, which often time and temperature makes the difference, AI sort of fits in between. Here's certain guideposts that you can't get over, and here's certain leeways. So think about it as the Costco's example. You went to Costco's on Saturday. You said, wow, I got home and these pomegranates were great. I'm going to go back and get more pomegranates. And you go back to Costco's, there are no pomegranates. Why? Because Costco's has only 4,000 items in the store and they're constantly churning it for whatever's selling. Perhaps you would have found your pomegranates back at the grocery store. Well, now you've learned that. Or what you've learned is next time I see something at Costco's, buy everything you need because it may not be there the next time.
That's true.
And then the context is always, did it give you what you were looking for? Did it give you the right answer? Was it applicable? Did you monetize it? Did it solve a problem? Did it help you with your client? Yes, no. Go back and tell it. And that will help it learn. I am now so engaged with Claude. I just chit chat with Claude. Well, Claude, I'm watching the Bears. What did you think of the game last Sunday? And Claude comes back and says, I'm sorry, I didn't see the game. Tell me more about it, or give me a link so that I could watch it, and then I'll give you my opinion.
Well, I'll tell you, my daughter doesn't like AI because she's afraid exactly that people are going to be less social with each other and their best friend is going to be AI. So I can see where that could be. You share your deepest secrets. You're going to ask it for advice. And it's that balance, right? Is how do we use it for success, but not have it make us lose our human connection?
So the Secretary of Education was interviewed recently, and she said, we need A1 in the school system. And Jimmy Kimmel picked up on this and said, the only one in the United States that doesn't know we don't need steak sauce is the Secretary of Education. And I listened to it, and I thought it was very funny. So I created AI sauce. And the idea behind A sauce, like A1, is a little enhances things, a lot ruins it. And I think that's the important lesson for all of us. Find a tool that works for you, start having conversations with it, and then find another one and keep it into a half a dozen max that'll do everything you want. And now we're starting to see more consolidation and more tools do more things. So maybe you only need one or two at the end of the day instead of the 100,000 that are out there.
Absolutely. Well, we are coming to the end of our time here. Tell me, where can people find you and find more resources? I know that you are full of resources and maybe they just heard the word chocolate and they're like, I need some of that. Where do they go?
So the easiest place is just find me on LinkedIn. It's James D. Feldman. Sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter is put out twice a week with a very tactical, here's something that will help you do X. And then on the days that I don't do the newsletter, I put up infographics. And the infographics are just usable pieces of information to help you with your social media, to help you with your recipe, to help you. The one that got the most this year was, what are the lessons that we can learn from Santa Claus and what would happen if he had AI? And people loved it because they started to see how AI could help Santa Claus. And if it can help Santa Claus, it's got to be able to help me.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I love it. Well, I enjoyed having you. I know we could talk like for hours and hours about this. So definitely thank you so much for being here. And for those of you listening, go check out his resources. He really does have concrete suggestions, tactical tools, and things that you can use right away.
And if you look under the AI Concierge, you see the JFA Tips business card. That'll take you to all my social media, give you my email, my phone number. Happy to talk to somebody if I can give you some advice on what tool does what for you.
Perfect. Thank you. And so it's time to reset around how you are using AI and get more organized and make sure that you're getting clarity first in your systems and in the way that you're working. So thank you all for being here. My name is Penny Zanker. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
Hey, thank you for spending this time with me. It really means a lot. If you're feeling a little off, distracted, overwhelmed, stuck, or just out of sync, remember that's your signal to reset. And that's all it takes, just recognizing one reset moment at a time. So stay tuned for more tips, tools, tricks, stories, strategies, all here on Time to Reset. We'll see you in the next episode.